Welcome to Houk Thermostat School. On the books today is the Honeywell T10 Wi-Fi thermostat. Let's get started. I have a T10 right here that we can use to go through the menu. And I also have the user manual that we can use to go through. What we'll do very quickly while we have the manual here, we'll talk about some of the thermostat features. The location-based temperature control allows the thermostat to use geofencing with your phone. When your phone is near the home, the thermostat can activate. The smart scheduling has different ways. You can do 5-day work week with Saturday, Sunday. You can do 7-day individual, what they call a smart scheduling, because it has 4 periods and allows you to adjust. No schedule, you can turn the schedule off to make things simple. You can use sensors, up to 20 wireless sensors throughout the home to allow the thermostat to know if somebody's in the room. Motion-based sensor, nobody's in the room, then that thermostat knows how much to control the temperature. If there's a greater load, if all the rooms are showing activity, the thermostat might run. Even though the temperature is at 74 and you want 74, that thermostat might run a little bit because it knows there's going to be a heavy load. Okay? Another quick thing, the smart alert, you can get alerts on your phone from the Honeywell app, which we'll go over. You have auto changeover, which allows you to set just a range, and then your thermostat will go to heating or cooling automatically. And the adaptive intelligence recovery will, as the thermostat runs, it will learn how long it takes to heat and cool the home based on an algorithm. The longer it's in that mode, the more it learns. Thermostats tend to overheat and overcool the homes because their thermistor inside the thermostat's a little bit behind the air temperature. So it just helps with efficiency a little bit. Okay. So as you can see here, we're displaying the humidity and the temperature. We're in the off mode. To begin operations, we go here, and then we'll go right on down the line. The mode will allow you auto, heat, cool, off. One quick tip, if you go into this mode, you have to make a selection. You have to tap the screen in order to say done. We'll show you the auto feature, as that's the most confusing. See, it gives you a range. You want it to heat to 70, cool to 78. So you always want it at least 70 degrees, and you always want it no cooler or no warmer than 78. So that means if it gets to 79, 80 degrees, the air conditioner is going to turn on. If it gets to 69 or below, the heat's going to turn on. That's all auto changeover is. I would recommend, as just knowing how thermostats operate, keep a distance of no less than 3 or 4 degrees. You don't want your thermostat to fight too much. This thermostat will allow it, but just be warned that it's a very small range. You want the thermostat to have a little bit of room to breathe, so to speak. You want to have a little bit of a headway. And if you like that exact of a temperature, turn the auto feature off and just put a heat or cool and adjust as you need it. So now the heat, if you put it in heat, swipe down, heat to 78. We're at 78. We want to heat to 70. Nothing's going to happen. If we raise the temperature up to 82, you'll hear the thermostat click, and it goes to heating. So here we are in cool. If we lower the temperature down below that, you'll hear a click, and it'll go to cooling. One thing to remember in the cooling cycle is if we turn it off or change, and then go back to cooling, you'll see a waiting for equipment. That just means that the compressor is going to rest for 5 minutes before the unit turns back on. It's a way to protect the compressor from overamping on startup. If it stops, that compressor has really high pressure on one side, low pressure on the other side, especially on a hot summer day. We don't want that compressor starting again for about 5 minutes. Allow the pressures to equalize, and it'll start under less pressure. It's called compressor protection, 5 minutes. Off turns everything off. So let's talk about the fan option. Your choices are auto, on, and circulate. When it's on auto, the fan only runs when it's running in cooling or heating. When it is on, the fan runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Circulate, the fan is going to run about 20 minutes an hour at the minimum, meaning if the heating and cooling is not running, the blower is going to run for 20 minutes an hour. If you've run in cooling or heating for 30 minutes, it won't run any extra time. If you've run in heating or cooling for 10 minutes, the circulate will activate the blower for 10 minutes because it'll want to run at least 20 minutes per hour, whether it's in a cycle, whether you've turned it on fan yourself. Well, if you turn it on to on, you'll deactivate that function, but if you put it circulate, it's 20 minutes per hour. The on function, when you have the fan running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and cooling, the humidity in your house may not be controlled well because if the fan is running after the condenser stops and the evaporator still has some moisture on it, and it naturally does, the air will just blow the moisture right back into the home. We're trying to control the humidity in the home by evaporating it on that cold coil and draining it out of the home through a drain. So if the condenser stops and that coil warms up a little bit like it will, it's supposed to, still has some water on it, the air that you blow across will just blow the humidity back into the home. So if you like a little bit circulated air, try the circulate function. It won't, if your air conditioner has just run, it will turn the fan off. The priority section is where all of your sensors will be displayed. We are showing the family room. That's the name of this thermostat. If you have other sensors, they will be displayed, and you can choose between selective rooms or active rooms. If you choose active rooms, if there's motion detected in those rooms, the thermostat will account for that. If you choose specific rooms, it will use those sensors to control the temperature in the home. Let's talk about scheduling function. Currently is disabled. If we say enable, what it'll do, it'll have grouped days or single days. So have Monday, you scroll Tuesday, Wednesday. Add period will add a fifth period to the day. You have 4 periods: wake, away, home, and sleep. And you'll basically, for your wake time, when do you wake up? Temperature, what temperature range? It has the range that we already have in there, and the fan option. And you'll go through that for every day and every period. The group days is 7 days a week. One of the easiest ways to set up your schedule is to use the Create New Schedule function. From the screen, Schedule. At the bottom, we'll hit Schedule Options. And then Create New Schedule. This way we'll have a 7-day option, weekdays and weekends, and choose. Let's just do a quick example. I'll ask you when you wake up, what you like your temperatures to be, put the fan, away time, temperatures, fan, ad infinitum. It's a very easy function, very easy way to get familiar with the schedule because it will walk you right through it. And then after you've walked through it, then you can see Then you'll have two schedules, one that the thermostat has as default and your schedule. Highly recommend that function. The dehumidification option will force the thermostat to achieve a humidity as opposed to a temperature. You have to be a little careful, because if you want to achieve 50 or 45% humidity on a 100-degree day outside and you want it 72 degrees at 45% humidity, it might have to drop the home to 70 or 69 to achieve that humidity. So 50, 55 reasonable, 40, 45 might be a little much to expect on a very hot, humid day. So the management section of the thermostat is where we can add devices and sensors. If we want to add, it'll prepare the thermostat. It'll ask you, this will actually walk you through the sensor setup. The thermostat information will have the MAC address, date code, model number, firmware, the equipment status will just simply tell you what's going on with the system right now. You can see we're off, off, off. Fan is idle. Dealer information, if it was provided, will be right there. The last section is the configuration section. To connect to the Wi-Fi, you will need to download the Honeywell Home app, and then you will choose your network. While we're waiting for this, you'll see this is on page 12 of the manual. You'll choose your network. Enter the password. Then you'll connect to the Honeywell Home app, and then you'll follow the on-screen instructions. These are some screenshots of what the Honeywell Home app looks like, and we also have a video coming up very soon that will explain this whole process in detail. Your preferences screen will have display date, time, reminders, and adaptive recovery. All your display options, Celsius, language, your inactive backlight will show you how dim it will be when it's going idle. You have the option of an analog clock when you're idle, or the temperature. The inactive backlight and inactive sleep backlight. And you can set that for a specific time for the sleep backlight. Your display offsets, if you want to adjust your calibration on your thermostat, I would stay away from it, quite honestly. Clean screen is where you can deactivate the screen for 30 seconds so you can clean it. You won't change any of your settings or turn it on cooling or heating accidentally. Date and time, self-explanatory. Time. Daylight saving time, I guess that's going away next year. And your clock format, 24-12 hours. Very self-explanatory here. You can set reminders for your air filter, dehumidifier pad, ventilator, if you have it. And your adaptive recovery is, again, how your thermostat learns how long it takes your system to heat and cool the home. And if you have schedules, it knows how to start and stop the system to get it to optimum cooling and heating without overrunning or overcooling. Last thing to note is if you are following a schedule, it will let you know on the display. And if you make a change now to cooling, now it's going to give you a hold option. You can say hold till next period, a specific time, or permanently. If you hold permanently, it deactivates the schedule until you change the thermostat again. Change the mode or change the temperature. If you want a specific time, you can tell it to hold it for a specific time. Remove hold, and it'll follow the schedule. Whatever you had it set to. We had it set to cool to 82, remember? And that's it. That's the T10 Honeywell Wi-Fi thermostat.